Hey everybody, Ryan Rookert here. Figured I'd go ahead and give you a new deck profile. I've taken apart the Drowned God and I've decided to make it an Atlantean stun deck. A lot of people are actually kind of surprised that I've changed it up, but I've realized anti-meta is more my speed. I've realized that it's kind of more my cup of tea. It's more like my play style. I'm good with fast-paced decks, I'm good with slow-paced decks, but I've realized anti-meta is where I fit. So I'll go ahead and give you a quick deck profile. Shout out to Brandon for some of his ideas. Shout out to Timmy here for using his tablet.
Hey.
Shout out to James for all of his work that he's helped me with over the years, and for all the work he's still helping me with out on a few games here and there. Shout out to everybody up north, even Danny, for helping me get a few of these cards, like the Pot of Avarice that I'm still running to this day, the Monster Reborn. Shout out to my buddy Ryan Hash for some of the cards here. But let's get on with the deck profile. We start off with the two Abyss Soldiers, kind of standard. I'll always run the two Abyss Soldiers. We got the two Armed Sea Hunters here. They're the double anti-meta. I basically call them the deadly duo of anti-meta because two of these on the field, you can just walk right over effects of monsters. The attack squad's here to fill in the 2200. Basically, they're the walking missile set. We've got the Dragoons here. They're the nice deck-to-hand. They're the direct attackers for the attack squads, the heavy infantries, the marksmans, divas, what have you. Speak of the heavy infantry, we've actually got them sitting right here. The extra summons, the face-up destructions, the extra Xyz fodder for gotchis. We've got the marksmen here to help bring them out a little bit faster. They're the face-down destruction, such like that. They work well for rank 3 Xyz summons, especially for water monsters. We have two Deep Sea Divas here, which work exceptionally well with the heavy infantry, but I'm going to experiment with a few more combos as we go on. Here's where we really get into kind of the anti-meta. We got the Doom Caliber Knight to start off the anti-meta set. A lot of people will understand Doom Caliber. A lot of people are kind of tricked up by the rulings of it. But Doom Caliber does hit graveyard effects. I've looked that up. It does affect graveyard, and it does resolve in the graveyard. So either way with things like that, Doom Caliber does work, people. Nice 19 beater, 18 wall. You know, he kind of fits in a lot of effects like that. There's only one backfire, is he can't be special summoned. We go on with Gores. I mean, if I need to explain Gores to anybody, feel free to message me, and you will receive my own personal explanation of a Gores. Spine Gilman, two of them. Brandon's idea, actually. He suggested running in the Gilman. I didn't know what to take out, so I figured I would just remake the deck altogether. Moving on, we have the Thunder King Ryo. When it got hit to 2, I hated it. I absolutely despised T-King getting knocked to 2. But seeing that 1 actually slows down a deck without completely crippling it, I kind of enjoy only running 1 T-King for this situation. Maybe if it was like a Wangu anti-meta based around Bird and Wangu combo with Safe Zone, I would be more tempted and more upset because I would run continuous Ryos. But maybe we'll save that for another time. We got the Tragodia, the 600 per hand. He's basically like a Gores. Brandon, that one was your fault, and thank you for it. I hate the fact you beat me 3 times with it, but I do enjoy it. Thanks. Entering the spells, we've got the Book of Moon. We've got the Dark Hole. We kind of ended up going into a double suicide note with the Dark Holes here. Brandon activated the Dark Hole on me. He's like, now I'm going to rub it in and say I have a foil Dark Hole. I said, well, so do I. He goes, well, I'm using it. Well, I know, but I have one too. Well, I'm using mine at the moment. But we run into a Forbidden Lance. I mean, I wish I could have put in the second one, but Monster Reborn was kind of more important at the time. If anyone needs a Monster Reborn explanation, please let me know too. I will gladly explain it to you. 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. I had a lot of people claim a lot of bad things. They claimed they'd rather run Dust Tornado, or they'd rather run like Heavy Storm or something. I don't like risking my my MST to be blown up before I can use it, and I don't like Starlight Roads. There was one idiot on Dueling Network. I love Dueling Network, but I absolutely hate some of the idiots on there who claim that Mystical Space Typhoon is not a quick play. One Moray of Greed, one Pot of Avarice, one Pot of Duality, and one Salvage to finish off the spell cards.
Now we are heading into the trap cards.
Well, I'm kind of glad you noticed that, because there's a few trap cards in here a lot of people are kind of unsure about. We have the Call of the Haunted, the Cashback, the Fiendish Chain, Magic Deflector, one Mirror Force, Reckless Greed, Solemn Judgment, and Torrential Tribute. Cashback and Magic Deflector are the two that a lot of people are kind of questionable about. Cashback works well against Solemns because it involves paying life points and stuff like that. Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning. If anybody else can come up with any other trap cards that involve paying life points to activate, please let me know. Cashback works against everything like that. Any monster effect that involves paying life points, any spell effect that involves paying life points. So if they bring back Brain Control, Cashback. It negates that effect and then shuffles it back into their deck, so they're forced to double use it. It makes them basically have to double pay to use the card. The Magic Deflector, I'm kind of happy about because it's a trap stun, essentially, for spells. It even cancels out the effects of Forbidden Lance and Forbidden Chalice. Also, I've moved myself up. I've gone up to 3 Fiendish Chains. I mean, 2 of them really does damage a deck, but 3 Fiendish Chains everyone hates unless you're the one using it. I would rather run 3 Fiendish Chains and have people rage quit than run 2 Fiendish Chains and still take a Grapha to the face. So, I'm kind of set on the main deck. I mean, I would be more than happy for any ideas on it. If you do have any ideas, YouTube, please let me know. I would gladly accept the ideas and would gladly see if I could think of a way where they could be useful for this deck. My real issue making it was more along the lines of figuring out what place to put what card. And when I kind of realized a few mistakes that I've made with my decks in the past, it made me realize the difference between a locals and a regionals deck. I aim to take this one to the next regionals around the Kentucky area. If anybody can find any regionals that aren't currently posted on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Events table on YuGiOhCard.com, please let me know. I would really enjoy to go to that and see what we can do with that. Let's move on to the side deck at the time. We'll go ahead and just fan them out. We kind of have a staple situation here, but kind of a excellent run along with it too. It's kind of a mix, really. I consider a lot of these cards to be staples, even though some of them really aren't. Armed Sea Hunter. I was going to main deck him for the 3rd Armed Sea Hunter, but I didn't really have enough room for him because of Trag. So I'm going to stick with the Armed Sea being in the side deck. Grave Protector. Really good card. You never lose momentum in a deck with your monsters. Every monster that would be destroyed by battle is shuffled right back into your deck instead of ever hitting the grave. So they can't be touched by Dimensional Fissure. They can't be touched by Macrocosmos. They can't be hit by anything of the sort. Basically, it's an anti-removal. It's also good if you're running like Gladiator Beasts, because instead of being destroyed by battle, back to the deck for you to tag out at the end of your battle phase. We've got the Marionette Mite. I love not taking Graphas to the face, but there's one thing I love more: hitting them with their own. Mask of Darkness. If I'm going to be running 3 Fiendish Chains, I'm going to get an extra use out of it. If I'm running 1 Call of the Haunted, I'm going to need a 2nd. So this kind of gives me my extra use for it. Mirror Force, Cashback, Solemn, basically any single trap card I could possibly need at the time. All I need to do is flip that. Puppet Plant. I get so tired, and I hate LSS Shein so much, that I had to run this card. I see no use in not running it. People say run E-Virus. I say run Puppet and Marionette Mite. We've got Reese the Ice Mistress. She's good against Dark Worlds, especially ones that can't seem to get their hands on Grapha. She can't be destroyed by battle with a level 4 or higher monster. I gave up on Poison Cloud. I went back to the Snowman Eater. Burden of the Mighty. It's an anti-meta staple. I would main deck it if I could, but there is no real room to main deck a Burden of the Mighty compared to a Monster Reborn or a Mystical Space Typhoon. Forbidden Lands. I figured I'm running Magic Deflector. It'll even cancel out my spell effects. A Forbidden Lance in main deck is good, and I would like to have one in the side just in case I run against somebody who's spell-oriented or trap-oriented. It even protects against Mirror Force. I mean, you really can't do much when it's been lanced. We're going to go ahead and run the Heavy Storm in the side, still like before. I still don't believe in Starlight Roads. I hate them with a passion, so I only side deck this one until I know they don't have it. I still run the swords in the side deck. People absolutely hate it when I top deck a swords. Interdimensional Matter Transporter to protect my monster and my life points because it negates the attack as well. We got the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast here for extra monster removal, plus it gives more cards in my grave to work with Monster Reborn. Ioi for extra hand knowledge. Also, it lets me discard a card so it can get rid of problem cards like Trag, Gores, Machina Fortress, Grapha, even though Grapha wouldn't exactly be the best idea. If you throw that out there and you drop a Grapha, just make sure you have no monsters in your hand. I beg you, please. And Torrential Tribute. The side deck itself was actually kind of tricky to decide because really I absolutely hated having to trim down my side deck to the staples for anti-meta compared to a lot of the staples that I'd been running in the past. But I realized where some of the moves were and I realized where some of my mistakes were. And it hit me. I cannot run a meta deck or an anti-meta deck with a Poison Cloud. I cannot run a meta deck without main decking Ryo. I mean, you just can't do it. On to the extra deck, a lot of you people would be glad to hear that we managed to bump it up and bump out the Wind-Up Zenmeister. And I think you'll be kind of relatively happy, at least, with the replacement we made for it. I looked at my cards earlier and I kind of freaked out that all of my rank 3, that all my monsters are basically either common, super, or secret rare. I think I've got like maybe one ultimate rare or something like that. I'm not sure. I've got a lot of them left in storage, but I've got my Duloran, my Flaming Meteor, Urquizzes, the Iron Chain Dragon. I just love outmilling a mill deck like Light Sworns with an Iron Chain Dragon. It makes them question summoning. Gaianite, Gachis, 2 of them still. Still 1 Gemnite Pearl. I have a 4th one for trade if anyone's looking to get their hands on it. 2 number 39 Utopias, the Papal Operative, the Snowdust Giant, the Greno, the Abyss Trite, the Leviathan, and the Wind-Up Zenmeister. A lot of these here are exceptionally good cards. I'm still trying to get rid of Gaianite, but I can't seem to find another decent level 6 Synchro. I might try to get my hands on a Black Rose, but I might not. I don't often have 2 level 2s and a level 3 on the field. I might switch out for a Catastor. I might switch out for a Stardust. But I don't think a Black Rose is completely within this deck's reach. Well, YouTube, I'd hate to wrap things up early for you, but this is the Atlantean Stun deck, the Atlantean Anti-Meta. This is Ryan Ruckert here, and like, comment, subscribe. Any deck ideas, gratefully appreciated. Any trade requests or anything, gladly talked out. Signing off.